Today we're going to talk about a Trailblazer SS clone. Welcome back to another episode of ModStars. I'm your host Z. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Let's go. From 01 to 09, we had the Trailblazer LT along with the GMC Envoy Denali. Now, these vehicles had a few different engine variations, and we're all going to talk about each one in their own video, but today it's going to be the small block V8, the 5.3 liter Vortec. From 01 to 04, we had the LM4, which produced 290 horsepower and 321 pound-feet of torque to the crank. From 05 to 09, we had the LH6, which was an active fuel management engine that produced 300 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque to the crank, both of which were connected to the 4L60E 4-speed automatic transmission. And they came with a 3.42 gear standard, but there is an optional 373 gear rear end that is preferred for a performance standpoint along with the 4L60E transmission. Now, I was a little shocked here. These apparently weigh a little bit more than the Trailblazer SS. I'm not sure how accurate this is, whether it's the rear-wheel drive or the all-wheel drive ones, but the Trailblazer LT weighs about 4,523 pounds, and the Envoy Denali weighs up to about 4,800 pounds. Now, keep in mind, GMC is more on the luxury side of things, but not as luxury as Cadillac. However, creature comforts do add weight. But what's good about not just these vehicles, but also their engines is that the 5.3 is the bread and butter of, GM SUVs and trucks. So they're cheap, they're abundant, and they're pretty durable and have a lot of potential in the aftermarket. Now, as far as the vehicles themselves go, in the used car market, they are cheap as well, even with all the crazy inflation going on. They go for about $5,000 or less to right under 10 grand or early 9,000s, which is pretty cool. Now, because it's Chevy, and more so the displacement on demand engines like the LH6, you're going to either get a tune to deactivate the active fuel management or just do a DoD delete. Now, Texas Speed does have a DoD delete kit for $100, $108 or so, and some say you'd have to do a cam swap for like a non-DoD cam. There's the GM part number 126-89035. Found this for about $135 on Amazon. But if you're going to do a cam swap, might as well be an upgraded cam, like Texas Speed cam or a comp cam or even, any type of aftermarket cam would make sense at this point. Now, again, building the heads, you can take it to a machine shop, pour it and polish it, do the valve angle jobs, things of that nature to save some money there. But if you have a bigger budget, you can get a set of trick flow heads. It's about $1,300 a bank, so $2,600 overall. It does include the valves, the springs, and the retainers, and they're 50 state legal. Now, as far as transmissions go, like the 4L70E and the Trailblazer SS, people complain about the 4L60E, how it's a weak transmission. Anything, basically, if it's not a 4L80, people dog it. But you can build the transmission you have, and it reduces the downtime of the vehicle. You don't have to worry about a swap even. So I say build what you got. And you have two options for that. If you're really on a budget, you can get a shift kit from Sonex for $170, a TCI hostile torque converter for $711, and a B&M transmission cooler for $175. Or if you really want to build, and you should, I recommend that you do, head over to Gearstar Performance Transmissions. You can get the Level 2 transmission for $3,700, and it does include a high stall torque converter with a stall of your choice that's rated for 400 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, which, if I'm not mistaken, is pretty close to the stock numbers of the Trailblazer SS and the Silverado SS. We're going to leave the Silverado for another video. If you want to build with the future in mind, you can get the Level 4 transmission for $5,000, and that is rated for 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. Now, as far as force induction goes, we're still going to go with the Magnuson Supercharger and the Pro Charger kit as well. Those are two options. They go for about $7,400. And we're going to top that off with the Alki Control GM truck kit. It's a methanol injection kit for $830. And you still need to stop. So yet again, the power stop brakes anywhere from 350 to 580. It does include rotors, pads, and calipers. Now, a rough estimate on getting this vehicle plus the parts, not including labor, by the time I made this video, will range anywhere from $14,385 to up to $25,510. And if you look at those numbers and you watch the last video on the Trailblazer SS, you're like, hey, wait a minute, Z. Why not just save my money and buy a Trailblazer SS? Well, again, it's easier to get these. They're more abundant and they're cheap. It's $5,000 at least, maybe a little less. You can have a running vehicle, especially if you need or want one, and you can build it later on. And this is a build, again, that can be done anywhere in the country, New York to Cali, New Jersey to Crenshaw. It's 50 state legal, especially the supercharger even. And the 5.3, you can find the engines anywhere. Junkyards, other trucks and SUVs, people swap them in cars. You know, the list goes on. It's, as far as the convenience goes and affordability for parts, there's a lot more out there. You're a bit more resourceful compared to the 6-liter LS engine. And the LS engines are, 6-liter LS2s, things like that. They're great, but everything comes with a cost. So on budget, you can have something that's just as quick as a stock Trailblazer SS, or you can build it to even be a Trackhawk killer. So let me know what you guys think. Would you rather go this route, or would you like the Trailblazer SS? I get it. It looks good. They look good. And I've never driven, an LS V8 myself, so I don't know what that feels like either. So I get either way. But if you want to do this on budget and have a clone, these are a few options. Let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and share. If you don't know, now you know, but do what you want to do.